selamat sore semuanya. Jumpa lagi dengan saya di Friday Dialogue. Sore ini kita akan kedatangan tamu istimewa. Siapa dia? Nanti kita akan tahu siapa orangnya. Ibu Sherin Retnani. Nah, topik kali ini tentunya akan sangat menarik karena berbicara tentang cinta, bahasa cinta. Ya, kebetulan ini Ibu Sherinnya sudah on dan live di sini. Saya kenalkan dulu. Shireen is a passionate educator and has been in the field of education for over 25 years. Hi, Shireen.
Hi, Yustina. Hi, everyone.
I'm introducing you first, yeah? All right. And then she is also the co-founder of Kitty Planet Montessori Schools in Indonesia. She is a global trainer, has facilitated several teacher training and leadership workshops in Indonesia and internationally. She is also very passionate about enhancing parents and teacher competencies and runs her own parenting sessions. She is a licensed breakthrough parenting and also she is a coach there and a future project facilitator. She believes that parents and teachers are the champions in children's life. I think I agree with you 100%. We help to raise the next generation. So she believes the day you stop learning is the day you stop living. I really like this because we both are learners, right? I mean, Sharon?
Absolutely. And there's thank you so much for that introduction, Yustina. It's such an honor to be here to talk to you about this topic that I'm so passionate about. And it's so good to know that you are equally passionate about it. So let's hope we can share this passion out there today.
Yeah.
Right?
Because some audience are convenient in speaking in Bahasa, so I will mix the language. So is it okay with you, Shireen?
Yes, that's fine. I understand Bahasa, but I'm not great with speaking it. So you can do the little bit of translation and I'll try and keep my English as simple as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
So actually, I really like this topic. I read the book several times back in 2010. I think I bought this book and then I fell in love with all of the things put there. So, Shireen, I think you have already done a lot of sessions with this love languages, yeah? Why is it important for us to learn love languages?
Okay, so before I answer that question of yours, Yustina, you know what? Can I speak to you in a language that I don't understand for just a minute, okay? I don't think you know Hindi, and I think you speak a language, you don't, great. And I think you speak Japanese, which I don't understand, am I right?
A little bit, okay, I'll try.
Okay, so can we just start having a conversation in these two languages right now? Tum kaisi ho, Yustina?
Hi, konnichiwa. Watashi no namae wa Yustin desu. Hajimemashite. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu.
हमको कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है आप क्या बोल रही है.
And shall we go on? I know a song in Japanese. Okay.
Okay, so you know we can go on speaking in these two different languages. And what happens is that when you keep speaking in these different languages, you just lose connection. We're not connecting, you know, we're absolutely not connecting because you're speaking a language I don't understand and it's vice versa, right? I'm speaking a language you don't understand. And exactly like we speak different languages, Dr. Gary Chapman has this concept, he came up with this concept that there are 5 different love languages, which are just ways of expressing love. And if we use different love languages and if we don't understand each other's different languages, then that whole love is lost in translation. So, yeah. So now to answer your question as to why it is important, well, you know, love is the basis of parenting. It is the basis of a lot of things. We thrive on love. It's an inherent need. And, you know, if there are any educators here, you know, if you look at the Maslow's needs, if you don't feel loved, you really cannot have self-esteem and you cannot become the best version of yourself. So we need love because it's a basic human need.
That's the foundation of everything, yeah?
Absolutely. Makes you a centered person.
And sometimes, why we sometimes feel that even though we are having a kind of a close relationship, like, for example, husband and wife, and at the very beginning, we feel loved, and then we are romantically involved with each other. And after for some time, then that kind of feeling sometimes is missing and disappearing. So is it because of that love languages as well, do you think?
Yeah, I think, when you fall in love, they say love is blind because
Yeah,
you're
very blind.
yeah, absolutely. It's because the brain is so, when actually with any emotion, whether it's love, whether it's anger, when your brain is so fully overwhelmed with any emotion, then it completely shuts down your rational brain. And that's why you've heard of, so many children being in love with someone, and the parent will say, don't marry this person, and they will not listen because you can't rationalize. And then when you live with a person, you start to see truth and you start rationalizing, and that's when you realize that things are different, and I have to live. You basically start rationalizing and seeing the truth, and then you have to live with what's true, what you've not been looking at, right?
So,
Yeah.
in other words, cinta itu buta ya. Kalau kita pertama kali jatuh cinta, itu semuanya jadi indah. Tapi setelah pernikahan, setelah beberapa tahun bersama dengan orang yang sama, dan kita tidak bisa mengekspresikan bahasa cintanya, lalu kita merasa, oh, I'm not feeling loved. I am not loved, right? So, okay. Can you clarify more about the kind of love languages that we need to be able to express? There is a question here. Bagi teman-teman yang mau bertanya, silahkan ya, bisa pertanyaannya dalam bahasa Indonesia atau bahasa Inggris. Ini ada pertanyaan. Is love language only for husband and wife?
Oh,
How
okay.
about those who are not married? Okay.
Right. So love languages are for humans, actually even for animals. It's a basic need, right? So it's not just for husbands and wives. I mean, today, I think Yustina and me are going to talk about not just husbands and wives, but we're going to talk about children. Love languages are used in schools. They are used in the workplaces. So Gary Chapman has written many books. And so love languages are, they can be used anywhere. And so you wanted me to clarify something. What was your question again, Yustina?
Okay, so this is talking about love languages. So there are more than one, yeah?
Yes,
more than one. How to express our love. Right.
Yes.
How many are there?
Okay.
And what are there?
Right. Okay. So there are 5 love languages, and this is, from the research of Dr. Gary Chapman. There are 5 love languages, and they are all just different manifestations of love. So in his book, he talks about all of us having this emotional love tank, okay? And this emotional love tank has to be full of love, okay? And when it is full of love, then we feel loved, right? And when our emotional love tanks are not so full of love, then we just don't feel loved. Now, the 5 different love languages, I find it very easy to remember them with this mnemonic, and that is quietly go and wake papa. The Q, quietly, is quality time. Yeah. Go, G is gifts. Quietly go. And A is for acts of services. Wake, W, is for words of affirmation. And Papa, P, is physical touch, right? So those are the 5 different love languages. And everybody has a different, some people have a dominant love language, but some people might have 2 or 3 different love languages, right?
So in other words, everyone has the 5 love languages, right?
Yes. So we can express them in these different ways, and we can even receive them in these different ways. However, sometimes we have a dominant love language, and there's actually a very good quick 30-second test for love languages.
Oh,
Which,
what is it?
yeah.
I'm curious about it.
Okay,
So
so do you, yeah.
I also want to know whether what I'm thinking about my love languages are correct or not. So everyone, all participants, let's follow the 30 seconds test of the love languages. Okay. Jadi
Right.
kita
Okay.
nanti bisa tahu ya love language kita apa ya, bahasa cinta kita apa ya, Ibu Sherin.
Yes, absolutely. So do you want me to put out the questions out there? Or do we have it written there?
Oh, can we just read it,
Okay,
please?
sure.
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask you this quick question, Yustina. Okay, let's see
Yes.
what's your love language. Right. So, do you feel loved when people say how grateful they are for you for the things that you do? Or do you feel loved when a person gives you undivided attention and spends time with you?
Okay,
Or,
jadi para bit by bit ya, Miss Sherin.
Yep.
I explain it to everybody here in Bahasa Indonesia as well.
Okay.
So, apakah kita merasa dicintai bila ada orang yang mengatakan bagaimana rasa terima kasihnya pada Anda, atau apabila ada orang yang melakukan sesuatu untuk Anda? Begitu, Bu Sherin?
yes, so the second one was undivided attention.
Oh, undivided attention, perhatian yang fokus untuk diri Anda.
Yes. And the third one is, do you feel loved when someone gives you gifts?
Kalau ada yang ngasih hadiah, apakah kita ngerasa dicintai? Saya yang mana ya?
Let's see. And then the next one is, do you feel loved when somebody does something for you? Like, helps you with your cooking or does something like that for you?
Jadi apabila ada orang yang melakukan sesuatu ya, memasakkan sesuatu atau melakukan tindakan untuk melayani. Okay.
Or
Then,
do you feel loved when somebody shows you love through physical touch? Maybe they hug you or, they hold your hands. So which of the 5 different ones do you feel most love with?
I think I will choose the first one. Yeah.
Okay.
When somebody is saying something good and then thankful, I really feel loved. And
Okay.
then I also feel that I'm loved when somebody, like giving a kind of physical touch, like hugging or rubbing my shoulder, or even when I was a small little girl, I like when my dad is doing like this to me.
Oh, yes, brilliant. So obviously your dominant love languages then are physical touch and words of affirmation, because you feel good when people express affirmation, gratitude, and those encouraging positive words to you, right?
Okay, so now I know. All right, so my love language is that 2 things. That's the dominant one, right?
Yes, those are the dominant ones.
Yeah.
And actually, so even with children, sometimes, we can know what is their love language depending on what they are asking for. So if they're always saying, Ma, ayo, let's watch a movie together, obviously they want some quality time. And, or if your child is telling you, yuk kita ke supermarket, let's belanja, let's go buy something, I want a gift, where's my gift? Then you know that it is gifts, right?
Okay.
So you can observe what children are asking for and understand what their love languages are.
So when your children ask, Mom, please tell me a story. Please, before bedtime. Yeah,
Yes.
I want you to tell a story. So it means, what is the love language?
Quality time, absolutely.
Quality time.
They
All
want
right.
that quality
Okay.
time. Yeah.
Sharon, can I read the questions from the
Sure.
audience here?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
This is from Demetria.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Love languages as basic key of relationship. How to express it to the partner who's dingin and sulit diajak berkomunikasi, gak nyambung, agar pesan cinta tersebut dapat dimengerti olehnya. Arigato.
Okay, you know what?
Ini
The
dingin,
best-
yeah.
Cold, right? Dingin means the person's quite cold, right?
Yes, the person is
Okay.
cold. How can we express that?
Okay, a lot of people are cold, and you continue to sprinkle all the different love languages on the person. Maybe you're just using one love language, and that person is not impacted, or that maybe that person's love language is different. So, you might be saying things to that person. I mean, if it's your spouse, maybe for example, maybe you're cooking for your spouse every day and you think, oh, I'm cooking a good meal because I love, my spouse. So your love language then may be acts of services, right? You're doing a service, you're cooking. But to your husband, maybe his love language is not acts of services and he doesn't think it's any great thing if you cook. But if you go and tell your husband, come, you know what, if you go and hug him or you hold his hand and he responds, then maybe his love language is physical touch. So yeah.
So we have to keep on giving the love languages and then we can see the sign, ya. Is it like that? Ya.
Yes,
Jadi kita harus memberikan bahasa-bahasa cinta yang 5 itu ke partner kita atau teman kita atau bahkan anak kita. Lalu kita lihat reaksinya, yang mana yang dia merasa lebih suka. Dan mungkin kita juga bisa tanyakan, apakah suka kalau saya masakan setiap hari? Nah, sometimes I also heard that the husband complained about the wife. The husband mentioned that, oh, my wife is so busy in the kitchen. She keeps on busy cleaning up the house. I don't even have a time to just sit down and talk about something or just enjoy the time together. That's something that we need to be alert,
Yes. So, when he asks you something like that, he's obviously in a way telling you that what he needs is your quality time, right? So if we are very observant about what our children or our spouses or even friends are asking for, we kind of know what matters to them. Like I know I have a friend, for every little thing she will send a gift, and so I know that's just her way of expressing love, So it really depends on how people are expressing themselves. You can observe it and you will find out from how they're expressing.
Yeah, so from the day-to-day activities, we can also see, and even sometimes we can also observe of what they have already done to us too, right? Yeah, like what you said.
Absolutely. So, and this is so common, I remember when I had done this workshop for a group of ladies, one of the ladies said, my husband comes home with this nice, big, beautiful handbag as a gift for me, and he's a very busy man, and it means nothing to me, because his love language is gifts. And for me, that means nothing. Yes, okay, it's just another bag. But what I want is my husband to actually sit over dinner and talk to me or, take me out somewhere. So her love language was quality time. So yes, you're absolutely right. We can see it from how people behave.
Yeah. So would it be also needed for us to communicate like verbally, like for example, saying it like, this is what I like. I really hope, or we question. So if we keep on being quiet and not saying it, so people will think that, oh, it's okay, you love it, Yeah. How can we express that, and how can we start doing a kind of conversation about it?
Okay, so I think that comes with having, when you spend time, whether it's with your children or it's with your spouse, you need to express that. So for example, let me just give you an example with children, right? So say you've got 30 minutes to spend with your child or your friend, right? And you tell your child that, we've got 30 minutes. What would be a fun thing to do together, right? And then if your child says, can we, can we cook together, right? So, then can we cook together means your child wants some quality time. So you can ask them that. And also sometimes it's good to tell people what you appreciate. If you tell them what you appreciate, they will even observe it and understand what really is your love language.
So it is also needed that we express it through words, to mention, oh, I really like when you say good or positive words to me, or sometimes by observing,
Yes, absolutely. You need to, otherwise how will the other person know? You need to acknowledge people and tell them what matters to you and what makes a difference to you, definitely. And maybe once we dive into each of the love languages, we'll have more examples to share with everyone.
I think we need more examples. Yeah. Like, for example, there are 5, right? You
Yeah.
mentioned about the first one is G, go wake papa, gift, right?
Yeah, quietly
Oh,
go and wake papa. So the Q is quality time, right? Okay,
quality
so
time. Okay, what
yeah,
are the examples?
okay. So quality time, especially now, because we have such busy lives, even though we're in lockdown at home. I think if you walk around now, and so often you see people with their phones, they're so busy just doing their own thing. So quality time is total undivided attention. It's really giving your full self to another person. And you don't need to do it for hours. Even if you give 10, 20, 30 minutes of your full undivided attention to your spouse or to your child, that is quality time. And there's a few things that you really need to keep in mind. One is, when you're giving someone quality time, talk about things that interest them. What is it that they want from this? You're giving them the gift of quality time. So it's not about you, you're giving them the gift. So talk about what they are interested in. Okay. The second thing is listen receptively, listen deeply. Sometimes what we do is we're listening to our spouses or our children, but as we are listening, we're already thinking, saya mau jawab apa ya? What do I want to answer them? So we're already judging, we're already thinking of answers. So quality time is undivided attention. It is not about being with your phone and talking to your spouse. No. And that's what's happening a lot nowadays.
That undivided attention. That is a question from
Yeah.
Eva Lu. I like it when my beloved one is spending time with me, even playing online games together. Is it considered as quality time? Do you think? Undivided attention.
Okay, no. That could be just it could be physical touch and quality time. You're happy that he is around you, but also the physical presence of a person sometimes matters. So I would think it was a combination of both of those, because quality time is literally where you are. I mean, right now, Yustina, you're giving me your quality time to speak about a topic that I am passionate about. So, this is quality time where you're fully there for another person. Yeah.
Undivided attention, talking about a kind of topic that another person is passionate about. Yeah.
Yes.
And I remember about my husband too. Sometimes when we are traveling in the car, I'm busy with my handphone, right? Answering a lot of questions from either the group of my friends or related to work. And I didn't realize, I thought that he's driving, so his attention is on the way, on the road, right? So he complained, are you that busy? Is it, does it need to be answered now? Or you can just listen to my story, something like that. So it means that my husband love languages.
Quality time. Yes.
Okay,
and that's
now I know him.
Now you know, right? And that's why, because he's complaining about you not giving it to him. So when they complain about not having something, okay, then oh, okay, this is what they need. So exactly, you gave me a perfect example. And with teenagers, if anyone's got teenage kids out there, a lot of teenagers will not come and tell you, spend quality time with me. So this is where we as parents need to go to them. Get interested in what they are doing. I mean, when my kids were teenagers, they spent a lot of time doing things like, using Snapchat and all of these things. And I didn't know all of this at that time, even all the TikTok and all of it. So then it's our duty as parents to try and go into their little world and spend some quality time, give them undivided attention and find out what is happening. They sometimes may not come to you. So if it's a gift, you go and give it to the other person.
So sometimes the danger of being with online learning and everything is that everyone is busy online, and then we forgot to give undivided attention,
Yes,
being
yes,
there physically and also with the whole attention there, right?
yes,
Okay, so
absolutely.
mhm. And what about the next one? Just now is quality time. The next
Yeah.
one is quietly
Go G,
go.
gifts.
G,
Gifts.
gift. Okay,
Okay.
gift. What
Okay.
are the examples?
Of gifts. Okay, if you look at gifts, right, it is the oldest, it's an expression of love from centuries. And that's why we have, you have Ang Pao, Chinese New Year, you've got Christmas gifts, you've got
Yeah.
birthday gifts. So the tradition of gift giving started because giving gifts is an expression of love, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, there's a very thin line between gifts as an expression of love and gifts, which becomes, where children especially feel entitled. That's my, hak saya, I have to get it. So you have to be
Oh,
very, very careful when you keep giving too many gifts, then it might feel like, yeah, I deserve this all the time, right? So it
mm-hmm.
is important to choose the gift. Now, say for example, Yustina, if I want to give you a gift, if I just picked up something that I liked and gave it to you, it's not
Mm-hmm.
really an expression of love. But if I know Yustina loves reading books and I go and choose some books which I know you will really love to read and I give you
Mm-hmm.
those as a gift, then it's an expression of love because I'm giving it to you, keeping in mind what you like.
Okay. Does it mean that it is necessary for us to give something or as a present, or can it be like a kind of a note or something small, like
Oh,
flowers from my garden or something? Because like gifts,
absolutely.
we are thinking of, oh, gifts. And
No,
the danger is that, like what you said.
yes. No, absolutely, Justina. I mean, today, just try it after we talk. If you just go and give your husband a flower from your garden and say, here, this is for you. I love you. He's going to, it's a gift. So it can be
Uh-huh.
something very, very small. And it can be gift of yourself. Your presence also can
Uh-huh.
be not only quality time, but it's also like a gift. And so when you give gifts, there are actually different principles. There are gifts that you buy, then there are gifts
Mm-hmm.
that you make, and there are gifts of the self, right? So, for example, you might just pick up, like I remember my daughter, okay, when she was
Mm-hmm.
very young, she used to collect all these recycled tins and she used to make coupons, spending 1 hour together, coupon for 5 kisses. And I don't know if she's watching us, but she would make all of these and
Mm-hmm.
put them into a box and just give it to us. Now, giving a gift when there's no occasion is a
Mm-hmm.
love language.
Okay, giving a gift when there is no
No,
occasion is
yes,
love language. All
it's
right,
an
there is another
expression.
question,
Yeah,
Bu Shireen.
yeah.
How can teachers incorporate this in class since we have a number of students?
Oh,
So how can
brilliant.
we do that,
Okay,
especially in the remote learning setup? Thank
okay,
you. Mhm.
brilliant.
From
So
Ibu
actually,
Nas Anju. Mhm.
Yeah, hi, Anju. Okay, so there's a whole, actually, there's a whole book of love languages in the classroom. And there are different ways where teachers can actually do this. So let me give you an example, okay? So if it's words of affirmation, okay? If it's, which one have you covered? No, so if it's quality time, sorry. So we've done quality time.
Mhm.
So for a teacher to just spend 10 extra minutes with a child, okay, asking the child, are you okay? Or, are you doing well in the class? Just making those, 5 or 10 extra minutes for that child is giving them the gift of quality time, right? And
Okay.
so,
Mhm.
yeah, there's a whole workshop on this where you have love languages for the classroom. And maybe another time we can discuss it, Justina.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. We are discussing for the universal love language first, yeah. But I agree that giving
Yeah,
more time for our students to ask how they are doing,
absolutely.
it's a kind of gift of love for quality time. Just now we
Yes,
have already covered the gifts. And
yes.
then what about the third one?
Okay, just before we go to the third one, I just want to say something about gifts. You know, there's a lot of research which tells you that when you give a gift to someone, right, first try and give them a gift that they will value. And the second thing is that wrap up your gift. So when you wrap up your gift, there is an emotional thrill in just opening a gift. And that is the research says that that gives a very good feeling of happiness. So for whoever's, I mean, even if you want to give your child a box of pencils, okay, something very small. If I want to send you something very small, I want to send you a pastry, you know, just putting a little ribbon and writing something on it will add a lot more value to it.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. And
Yes.
when I think the culture of wrapping gifts or wrapping everything nicely is appeared in Japanese culture. Yeah, when you go to Japan, then you want to buy something, then they wrap it nicely, and
Yes.
I think that's something that we can also implement.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, you know, and the other thing is if you've got young kids at home, keep a stash of, you know, just cheap gifts, small little things, you know, it could be just a little pebble which says, I love you. You know, sometimes just give it to your child, especially if you're a working parent and you need to rush out, you know, something little to your child. This is for you because you love this. So have a stash of little gifts which you can use. And another thing that you can do with gifts is make gifts which last forever. So I remember when my daughter was, I think, 14, it was her birthday. And so at that time, she liked to sing. So what I did was, as a gift, of course, it was a birthday gift, but I wanted to make it a love language gift. So I got all her friends to go to a studio and record a song. And
Wow.
yeah, and that has become a lifetime memory. The whole experience of it is a lifetime. So sometimes giving gifts doesn't mean just going and buying something. It could be creating a memory. It could be just, you know, taking
Beautiful memory. Yeah.
yeah, it could be just making a scrapbook. It could be, you know, creating this, like I said, record a song and have a lot of small gifts at home which you can give.
Okay, there is also a question here. Jadi bukan dari seberapa mewah hadiahnya ya Bu, tapi usaha dan waktu yang dicurahkan untuk mempersiapkan atau memberikan hadiahnya.
Yes, I understood that. It's the thought behind the gift that matters.
Yes.
It is
and
the
also
thought.
the efforts.
Yes, it is the thought and the effort. And think about it. You know, today, even if I have a 21-year-old daughter, and if she just, you know, made something for me, and even if it didn't look good, just the thought, the love that goes into that makes such a big difference. So yeah, so the next time when you are giving gifts to someone, just stop and think. It's not about expensive gifts. It's about what that person really likes. It could be anything. I mean, it could be a meal. If your spouse likes Japanese food, you know, and you get a box of sushi, wrap it up with a little bow and say, here's a little surprise for you. Makes a big difference rather than you just open the sushi and put it on the plate and say, eat.
Yeah, you're right. I like sambal so much. And then somebody gave me sambal with a kind of ribbon on it. And I feel, wow.
There you go. There you go.
That is a kind of a comment from Paman Leo. Hello, Paman Leo. The language of love should also include empathy for others. Please take note.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Empathy is a very big thing. Actually, I think when we come to words of affirmation, I think when we talk about words of affirmation, empathy is a very big thing over there. So maybe we can jump into the third love language.
Yes, please. So the first one, can we remind all of the audience again? The first one is quality time.
Yes.
The second one is gift. And then the third one is?
So acts of services. Right.
Yes. Okay.
So acts of services is action, basically doing something for someone, okay, which maybe they cannot do and which helps them. Now, if you are helping your child to do all their homework, it's not an act of service. You're rescuing them. But if you're teaching them how to do their homework so they become independent, then it is an act of service, right? And
So we have to be careful with that, yeah.
yes,
Not making
absolutely.
them like dependent on us, but we also have to be careful in giving
Yes.
our act of service, yeah.
Yes,
Tindakan untuk
absolutely.
melayani. Mhm.
Correct. And for acts of services, it's very important to keep in mind that it is to show that you care. It's to assure them that you love them. So, for example, if your child is interested in, say, playing badminton, okay, and if you really say, okay, come, let me teach you, let me teach you how to play badminton, and you take that extra time and go and teach them how to play badminton, you're doing an act of service, and
Mhm.
so doing things together, cooking a meal for your child once in a while, all these are acts of services. If your child doesn't know how to make their bed and you're making their bed for them, it is an act of service.
Okay, but then we also teach them how to do it, yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So
Mhm.
do not do for children what they can do for themselves. Okay. Teach them how to do things for themselves. That is the most important thing,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh. I remember that quote from Montessori. Teach me how
Yes.
to do it myself. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And just another example. So, sometimes, okay, I remember, actually, I remember this from my own childhood. Every time, say, my watch would break or the TV wouldn't work, my dad would not just fix it for me, but he would tell me, okay, get the toolbox out and this is how you do it. So he would show me how to do it. And those were acts of services. So if your child's toy breaks, don't give it to someone and say, go fix it. This is where you can do an act of service where you actually say, okay, let's get the toolbox, so let's get the glue and let's fix it together. You see? So these are
Yeah.
things that make, and also taking your children out, to orphanages, that's also an act of service. Practicing sports together is an act of service. It's showing that you care and you love the person. Yeah.
So act of service also can express our quality time too, right? Because when we are doing the act of service,
Yes.
we also
Yes.
give our time and efforts to do so, right?
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah, very good. So, very good insight that you brought up. Sometimes the difference between the two is that when you're doing an act of service, you might be doing things together, right? So you might be
Yep.
fixing, say, for example, you're fixing a toy, you're fixing the TV together, you're helping someone do that. But when it's quality time, it is more undivided attention, listening to the person, and so that's the difference between quality
Yeah.
time and acts of services. Yeah.
Yeah, act of services means that we are doing an activity for making sure we give something, right? And then
Yes.
for the quality time, we give undivided attention. All right, so we have already learned the three love languages. What about the fourth one?
Okay, so we have quietly, which is quality time.
Yes,
Go is gifts.
gifts,
A is acts of
act of
services.
service, uh-huh.
And then, do you remember
And
what's
then
the next? Quietly, go, and wait. W is words of
words of
affirmation.
affirmation.
Okay, I think words of affirmation is my favorite because maybe it's my love language as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
if words of affirmation are affirming another person, whether it is your spouse, whether it is your child, whether it is your helper. When you use words of affirmation, you are motivating, you are encouraging that other person. And just like we have an inherent need to be loved, we thrive on being appreciated and acknowledged, right? So and how we affirm is a very important thing. So, for example, if I say, Yustina, good job, this is great. How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm happy because part of me, my love language is the words of affirmation. But then when somebody throwing a kind of negative words to me, I feel I am very sad and negative. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, Mark Twain actually said, as a quote, I can live for 2 months on a good compliment. You know, think about it. Think about life. Think about when you were a child. You tend to remember the best things said to you and the worst things said to you. And obviously, we want to leave people by saying the best things to them. I don't mean about flattering, no, but affirming means, so for example, instead of me saying, Yustina, good job, you're doing these Insta lives, I can say, Yustina, thank you for being so purposeful and taking the time and effort to do these Insta lives, because your topics may be of value to a lot of people out there, right? So
that means a lot to me. Yeah.
There you go. So when you are affirming someone, it's not about good job and great job and that's good. It means nothing. So there are different things that you can affirm. Number one is you can affirm their qualities, their virtues, right? Like you're being so purposeful, you're being so kind and generous with your time. So you can affirm a person's virtues, good qualities. You can even affirm effort. Sometimes a child is struggling to do something and hasn't really achieved the outcome you want, but you might say, I really admire the way you're trying so hard to succeed. So you can even affirm people for the effort that they put into things. So it's beyond just a superficial praise. It is about being even empathetic. And somebody did bring up empathy. It is about going in and trying to understand what the other person is saying or doing, especially when you are encouraging someone. Life's not easy, right? And we need to encourage people. Like you said, positive words and encouragement is very important. And that comes when we are able to be empathetic towards others.
So I just learned about the giving the affirmation means that we have to pay attention to the virtue, ya. Jadi para peserta sekalian yang ada di sini, teman-teman yang ikutan, kita juga harus hati-hati kalau kita mau memberikan kata-kata positif, ya. Kita bisa mengarahkannya ke karakter yang dia lakukan, usaha yang dilakukan, ya. So the virtue, the efforts, and then the other one, Ibu Sharon, the other one?
The virtue, I said the virtue, the efforts, and maybe, what else did I say? The encouragement, right? I mean,
okay. Yeah. Menyemangati, kata-kata untuk menyemangati. Okay.
Yes. So you're motivating, you want your child, and something, sometimes people do the opposite. So there's one thing I wanna say is that so for example, Yustina, if I know your love language is words of affirmation, right? So say you love you, it matters a lot to you to hear these words. Now, if I come and say something bad to you, okay, it's like a punishment to you. Okay, this is something I'll give you another example. For example, if a child's love language is quality time, okay? Example.
Yeah.
For that child, when you spend lots of time with that child, they feel loved. But for that child, if you tell him, go sit in the chair, time out, or go to the bathroom, that is punishment for that child. But if the child's love language is not quality time, and you tell the child, go and sit in the bathroom or go time out, he might be singing a song and having fun and not affected.
Yeah. So that is a kind of a question as well from me. Basically, there are some people who said that if I keep on giving a kind of affirmation word, so they are not going to be able to cope with criticism out there. Sometimes people out there, they say something very, very negative or harsh. And then if as parents, we never train them to do so, then they're worried if they're not able to adapt and adjust. So do you think what they're saying is okay?
Absolutely. I agree with whoever's brought up this. It's a very important point. It doesn't mean that you're always saying positive stuff. Yes, you are trying to say positive things and affirm people all the time. But yes, we can give criticism without hurting. See, if you blame, pain, and shame somebody, you're bringing down their self-esteem. But you can give criticism by, putting it in a very nice, in a constructive way. So let me just give an example. Okay, say Yustina.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. So suppose I've always affirmed you for how good you are and all the work that you do. But I want to give you some criticism, right? I don't have to say, oh my God, look at what you did, Yustina. That other Insta show was better than yours. I am blaming, paining, and shaming you. I don't have to do it that way. I can say, Yustina, you've always put an effort to do your shows very nicely. And, maybe if you had a third guest in the show, it might be very good. So I need to say what is good, affirm the child, give them the criticism, and then affirm them again, So there's a way of giving it without blaming, shaming, and paining. Because if you do that, if you blame, shame, and pain, you are bringing down the self-esteem of your child, and then you'll have other issues,
Okay. So, jadi hati-hati ya para teman-teman sekalian. Kalau kita memberikan pujian itu bagus, dan kita pun juga perlu memberikan feedback atau kritikan. Namun kritikan yang perlu kita berikan, hati-hati jangan sampai mempermalukan mereka, jangan sampai mempersalahkan mereka, dan menyakitkan mereka. Jadi itu yang harus kita perhatikan untuk bisa memberikan words of affirmation tadi. Begitu ya Ibu Sharon?
Yes. Yeah. And Yustina, once I was listening to someone and I learned this. Sometimes we say, I told you. Saya bilang.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Exactly what I heard a lot.
Yes.
I told you, right?
See?
So
and
that happened.
And when we say that, it's actually shaming the other person. Because when we say, I told you, we are trying to show we are more superior. So,
I see.
Yeah, so I have stopped saying that now to my children. I used to very often say, I told you it was not the right thing to do. I told you. It's like an automatic. So instead of saying, I told you, I just stop. I'm very mindful of it now. I just stop and ask them. So for example, if my daughter did something and it was not the way I wanted her to do it, instead of saying, I told you it shouldn't be that way. Yeah. Instead, I would say, okay, you did it this way. How do you think you could have done it differently?
Okay, so question.
Yes, you can use questions.
Her, so that she will think about it. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Grow mindset. Yeah.
Mindset. Yeah. I mean, we want to raise children to be responsible. So we have to teach them, not shame them, not pain them, and not blame them. We teach them what to do. And this is the mistake sometimes we make as parents. It's easier to just shame them and blame them and compare them and tell them you're wrong. Anybody can do that. But we need to stop and teach them. Yeah. So words of affirmation. I agree with you. And also, it's very important the tone that you use with words of affirmation.
Oh, sometimes we forgot about the tone. Especially if the parents like saying things in a high tone. Yeah.
Yes. We need to stop and use tone is a very important thing in communication. So if you are affirming someone, it makes a big difference when you're looking them in the eye and giving them those words of affirmation straight from the heart, not playing with your phone and saying, yeah, itu bagus, yeah, you did that. No, it means nothing. So how you deliver it, the packaging of it matters.
Okay, so again, we have to be careful also with the tone and with what we are doing when we are conveying that. Yeah. All right.
Absolutely.
So what about the fifth one, Ibu Sharon?
Okay, so the fifth love language is physical touch. And physical touch is, like it says, it is just touch. And if you notice, Yustina, sometimes, we don't have words to say something to someone, but when someone just touches you, okay, it feels and it matters a lot, right? If someone just comes and holds you like this and says, okay, everything will be okay, it matters a lot, right? And physical touch is a very strong love language. Actually, with babies, it is the first love language that they recognize. And that is why, when we have little newborn babies, we're always swaddling them and hugging them and doing that, because that is a love language. And with physical touch, your brain actually releases the hormone oxytocin, which makes you feel very relaxed, calm, and, loved. So, yeah, you have a question?
So at this kind of moment when we cannot even shake hands with other people, so how can we keep our, if our love language is the physical touch, how can we keep that?
Oh my God!
Only in the family, or how do you think we can?
I think, it's very, very hard at this time, where people are not meeting one another, and, and we can't even shake hands, and all of this is taken away. I guess this is the time for families to be there for one another. And, sometimes if you notice physical touch, with teenagers, a lot of parents stop hugging their teenagers, or stop, patting them and holding them. And we need to be mindful that they need this physical touch. And if you don't give it to them, they'll go and get it elsewhere, right?
I agree with you. Sometimes some people mention that, oh, my son or my daughter is already a teenager, so they refuse. However, if we make it into a kind of habit, like every time we are going to go to school, or when we are going to go to bed and then we hug each other, I think we can make it into a habit, right?
Yes. No, absolutely. And, it could be something as simple as, I remember talking to a parent, and, some people, especially a lot of fathers, feel very awkward, right? So it could be something as simple as, before you have a meal, you just hold hands, make it a family ritual that, we're just going to hold hands, say a prayer, and that's it. It is a very powerful thing. Even sometimes, if you're sitting with your children and watching TV, having a blanket over you and your child, and just having that is also like, it's physical touch, having that blanket out there. And so there are many different ways, even with, if you feel uncomfortable to kiss your child or hug your child, just a fist bump, or even, those elbow bumps, or those high fives. Hey, so while you are giving them a word of affirmation, you can even use physical touch. So when you're telling your child, hey, you put so much effort in doing this, it's so good. You can just say, wow, you put so much effort in doing this, it's so good. So you can combine the love languages.
I agree with you. And I really like what you said about the family ritual. So it is very important for our all of us, all participants here, all parents who are joining. It is very important to also create a kind of family ritual, like holding hands, or hugging each other, or rubbing the head, or touching the shoulder, and because everyone needs it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Either a young child or old ones, right?
Yes, everyone. We thrive on these love languages. We thrive on love, right? So we need to find out what. So even just holding your child to cross the road, holding hands to cross the road, even just tucking your child to bed, is fine. Any family ritual, even if you want to play a game, a board game, have a game where, you have some kind of physical touch and vicinity, have objects which are sensorial, so any touch-oriented objects, which are even passing the pillow and those kind of things. All of that is encouraging. It is, physical touch.
Yep, I agree. So we learned a lot today. We learned about 5 love languages. Okay, if we can recite from the very beginning, your mnemonic, what is it?
Okay. Let's see if you remember, Yustina.
Starting with a Q, Quietly tell.
Quietly go and wake Papa.
Papa, okay.
So now you tell me, what are the 5 love languages?
The quality time, the gift, the act of service, and then the what is it? Quality time, and then words of affirmation, and the last one is physical touch.
Brilliant. Okay. Absolutely. There you got it. So those are the five. It's beautiful. So I think if everyone is just very intentional about this and aware of this, it can make a huge difference.
Okay, so when I remembered what you said at the very beginning, when we speak two different languages, we don't connect. So we lost in translation. Ya,
Yes.
jadi saat kita jatuh cinta, sepertinya semua indah, tapi setelah menikah, setelah tinggal berapa tahun bersama, kadang-kadang kita merasa tidak dicintai karena tidak mengerti bahasa cintanya. Jadi love languages atau bahasa cinta itu untuk kita semua, untuk kita baik dari anak kecil ataupun sampai orang dewasa dan bahkan orang tua pun juga memerlukan bahasa cinta juga, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it's a universal need. It's an inherent need. So yeah, and I know we've hardly got any more time left, but if I have to say something to everyone out there,
please.
Yes, this is the one thing I'd like to say. In the beginning, I said we all have an emotional love tank, and it is very important first to fill your own love tank. You need to take you need to love yourself first and make sure your love tank is always full so that when it spills, it can spill to everyone around you. But if your love tank is empty, then you're always going to be irritable, angry, upset. You're always going to look for ways to fill it up. So I think that is what I would like to end by saying. Be intentional. Remember, you have an emotional love tank and fill it up. Fill it up and be aware of the different love languages. And it's also automatic. You sprinkle the love languages around the people you love, and they will start to sprinkle more on you.
So, wow, so beautiful. I agree with you. So learning to love ourselves first and then fill our tank fully so that we can give and share the love to others. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Ibu Sharon, for your time.
Thank you, Yustina.
I hope that all of the friends here who are watching can take the love languages and implement it in their own life. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you, Yustina, for sharing this love. Welcome. Thank you so much. And see you all again. Thank you for being here. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Love you all.
Yes, love you all.